This is the amount of paper I used in just 1 year of undergrad. And this is the amount of paper I used since I started medical school. Absolutely zero. And this is what allowed me to go completely paperless when I started medical school. This is the iPad Pro, the 2020 edition. It has some great apps like Notability here, which lets you just scribble down notes with also this amazing Apple Pencil, which is actually really good at picking up your handwriting and little things like when you want to erase things. It's quite accurate in terms of the spatial side of things. That's not the point of this video. Soon after I started using the iPad and went completely paperless, I started missing paper. I started missing the feeling. You know, something about just opening a book, grabbing a pen, and just writing things down. You know what I'm talking about. ASMR. It's just different. It's just not the same with the iPad. You get certain screen protectors for the iPad that feel like paper, but still, it's just not the same. When I came across the Rocketbook, this thing is an integration of the physical world of notes and the digital world of notes. Imagine a notebook where you could scribble down something, scan it, send it to your cloud, and then erase it, and then reuse the page like it was never used again. That's the Rocketbook, and that's the book we're going to talk about today in our review episode. I'm going to be running through different aspects of the Rocketbook that I think is relevant to think about when you're deciding whether or not to buy it. Hopefully with this video you guys get an idea of, is it really what it's advertised as? And more importantly, is it worth the price point it's at? Fundamentally, the selling point of Rocketbook is that you can reuse pages, as well as the other aspect is taking your physical notes and scanning it straight into the cloud for your different libraries that you might have. So the Rocketbook comes with three things. Number one, it comes with the book itself. So this is the Rocketbook Everlast, which is about the size of a normal A4 notebook. It does come in smaller sizes and even bigger sizes, but for me, this was the perfect size because I'm used to writing in these dimensions. It comes with a microfiber cloth that you use to wipe out the notes after you're done scanning them and sending it over to different parts that you like. For example, you can send it to Google Drive, you can send it to OneDrive, whatever you like. And after that, you can quickly rub it out using this and water and a bit of water. The other thing that it comes with is the pen. So the Rocketbook doesn't actually have its own flagship pen. It runs off the Pilot Friction pen line. You could buy this pen anywhere at Officeworks or online from the Rocketbook website or from the Pilot website. Yes, it is a little bit more expensive than a normal traditional pen, but that's just what you gotta do if you want that kind of luxury where you can write notes and not have to buy any more notebooks in the future. I'm gonna break this video down into three parts. Number one, we're gonna talk about, is it actually erasable, the Rocketbook? The second part is gonna be how easy it is to send your notes to different parts of your iCloud. And number three will be the price point. Is it actually worth the amount of money that you might spend? I've been using the Rocketbook for about a month now, and these are some of the footage of pages that I've already used multiple times. I would say over 20 times I've written and then erased it. As you can see, it's almost, you can't really tell that I've written there before unless you really go out looking for it, right? At certain angles, and maybe if the light is hitting it just right, maybe you can see some remnant of the past notes, but that's if you're really nitpicky. Just from everyday point of view, if you're just writing notes, there is no way that the remnant of whatever note that was before is going to distract you. Erasability is actually really, really amazing. So what you need to do is essentially grab the microfiber cloth, and then you need a bit of water. So I had this little can that I had for some other, I think it was like a perfume or a cologne. So I just filled it up with water. It works really well because it's like a spray mechanism, so you get the water spread all over the page. And it's as simple as spraying the page from top to down, and then just rubbing it left to right, and it easily takes off all the ink every single time. I've actually never had trouble with the ink not going off or having to use more water. You usually get away with 3 or 4 sprays and that's it. In terms of an erasability point of view, the Rocketbook does exactly what it promotes. You can easily write notes and remove it, and it's like this page was never used. You don't have to buy any other notebooks, right? Yes, the price point might be, you might be thinking, is it worth that much money to buy this notebook? But think about if you were using just a traditional notebook versus the Rocketbook, this will run out where you have to buy more and more of these. Whereas the Rocketbook, at least from my month and a half of usage, it still feels like new when I open it. Erasability, 10 out of 10. Can't complain. Second thing I want to talk about is the integration, right? I think the Rocketbook nails the integration between the physical world and the digital world because of this feature that they have in every page. Every page comes with seven symbols down the bottom of the page. These 7 symbols each have its own function. When you're filling your notes out, when you reach the end of the page, you simply have to just fill out one of these 7 boxes. Now, what is it really gonna do, right? When you first set up the Rocketbook app, you can choose what each of these symbols mean. For example, the first symbol, which is for rocket, could mean that this page that you're scanning needs to be sent to your email. The next one, which is a diamond, could mean, okay, actually send this page to my Google Drive. The next one could be send this to iCloud. The next one could be send this to Dropbox. So you can choose where you want these pages to go. Stamp on a letter, you're telling them which country to send it to. You're telling Rocketbook, this page needs to go to this, and you don't have to worry about it. The rest is just automated. You open up the scanner and you hold it above the paper. It automatically recognizes the different margins of the paper because that's what the app was built for. And just like that, you can press done and it'll send to wherever you wish for it to end up in. The app is amazing. The app is extremely user-friendly, and I've actually never had much trouble scanning it as well. I know there are some other apps that do scanning of different paper. I've always had the issue of the app either not picking up the entire page and me having to manually intervene to show the app the margins of the page. What I've seen with the Rocketbook is that it's because it's built for this book, it can easily pick up the 4 corners and just take everything out in between. The only thing that I would say is the lighting does matter. If you have an overhead light that's falling and your shadow projects onto the paper, the scan does get a little bit weird with like different black parts over the page. But you can't really blame Rocketbook for that. That's for any camera-based scanner. Well, in terms of the scanning part, the app is user-friendly. It picks up everything in the page. Yes, the lighting is an issue, but that's an issue for everything. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 in terms of the scanning part of the physical world to the digital world. Finally, let's look at the price point side of things. Now, the Rocketbook comes in different sizes, and depending on if you're planning on using it as just like a mini notepad that you could carry in your pockets versus a full-blown notebook, the price differs according to the number of pages and the size of the pages. I would definitely recommend getting at least one of the A4 sizes and then maybe on top get one of the paper sizes. I can definitely see myself using the little mini ones when I go on the ward rounds in third year. Like I could imagine taking some notes about some patient that I'm seeing right in front of me to later transfer it over to my app and then erasing it, whereas it'll be kind of awkward carrying such a big book around on the wards. On how you're going to use it is going to impact the price point. The Rocketbook Everlast, the A4 size that I got, cost me around $80, including the book. I got this little pen holder as well, where the friction pen just slides through. I got 2 pens as well. I got a blue pen and a black pen. So that's the entire package. You don't really need anything else. And total of $80. Much more expensive than just the $5, $10 notebooks that you can get from Officeworks, Kohl's or Woolies. But that's the thing though. You're saving the environment because you're not using more and more trees. And number 2, you don't have to keep going to the shops. And number 3, theoretically, you could use the Rocketbook forever. That's why it's named Everlast. That's how they advertise it. Obviously, I'm not sure how long it actually lasts. This 1 month and a half has been working perfectly. I think the sunk cost there, the $80, is actually a pretty fair price for what you're getting. In terms of price point, it's a little bit steep, but I think it's quite worth it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Now for the verdict, I gotta be honest, I do use the iPad much more than I use the Rocketbook, purely because 1, I usually annotate next to my lecture slides, and number 2, the iPad is just, notability is just one place where I like to keep most of my notes. However, the Rocketbook does have its place in my study routine as well, especially when things start wrapping up during exam season or if I'm working on a project for work. All in all, I think this should be something students should consider. Definitely consider going completely paperless. iPad is obviously quite expensive, so if that's something that you're not yet able to commit to, I think the Rocketbook is a pretty good alternative because you just need a phone, that's it, and it can scan all your notes, and every time you fill it out, this comes with, I think, around over 30 pages of notes, and then you erase it and you've got the 30 pages again. If you guys found this review helpful, if you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'll leave the link to get a Rocketbook in the description below. Check it out. Let me know if you agree with the points I made, and maybe 6 months, a year down the line, I'll do another sort of checkup on how I'm going with the Rocketbook and if it's still holding up as well as it did. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one.